Hello, Internet. Welcome to Good Game Nation. This is the Nation podcast. I'm here with Sam, Zach, and Jroc, one of the founders of the Good Game Nation brand. Say hi, boys.
Hello.
Sup with
Hello.
it.
So today we're going to be talking generally about high competitive play and tournament play at the highest levels with Jroc and Zach, which have both competed at the national level. J-Rock, real quick, tell us what tournaments you have participated in.
For the national level, I've done back-to-back years in Yu-Gi-Oh. I've done regional and YCS equivalents in uh, not Magic. What did we play?
All of
Pokemon.
them?
But with like the high level, we played
Oh,
Pokemon.
yeah.
Playing
Dragon Ball.
Digimon, Dragon. Oh yeah, I topped the Dragon Ball regional. I forgot that.
It was so free.
These
And
guys are
what about you, Zach?
Similar stuff. I didn't get to go to nationals for Yu-Gi-Oh, but I did pretty good with regionals and stuff back then. I think my most of my success comes from Dragon Ball, and like Bandai games in general. Uh, 3 Nats back to back, 2 top 32s. I bubbled the top 16 both years. Um, yeah. Outside of that, Digimon's been good so far. I topped one of the first events they had back in when Set One dropped. One of the November tournaments, I took black because everybody said you couldn't play it, and I got like 16th or 17th, something like that.
And then,
And
uh,
it's all pretty much the same. We did
yeah,
decent. I think what Jay, couple states back when they called them states for Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, we got that. I topped that back-to-back.
Yeah,
Uh,
with Night March, right, or whatever it was.
and then what about Sam? I know Sam's done a couple. You.
it's just like
No, I never did any of the traveling for the big tournaments. I got like I could have gone, but most of them are was more just casual, like play locals, have some fun here and there. Um, but nothing,
You won.
nothing too serious.
You won when you were younger, though.
That was Pokemon. I technically took second in that Naruto thing we did. I don't know what that technically was, or what the equivalent of that was.
It was a tuning, so
I
like
don't know what that is. Was that a regional?
store championship at least, right? Like
Okay, yeah, I've done a bunch of those for Dragon Ball, but that's probably the highest. Regional is the highest I've gone.
Yeah, the for me, thanks for asking. Was a top
Black Wings,
36. I
I
think
was there for
I
that.
think it was a Black Wings.
Black Wings.
I think it was 36 or 38th, and that's the closest I've gotten to any top in any game because I'm bad, and you guys know it.
Dude, that was an amazing day though.
That
That
was the
was an
3 a.m. drive
amazing
home.
day.
I
That
feel
was
like I probably could have done better, but like round 6 or 7,
So tired.
we went to go get food,
yeah,
and I missed my first game, so I started with a game loss,
oh,
and
RIP.
then yeah, it sucked.
yeah. It
But
was fucking.
hungry, so who cares?
Yeah, true.
Um, but let's jump into some questions for Rock and Zach. Since you have competed at a much higher level than most of us, how do you guys deal with the pressure of a national stage? You can start, J-Rock.
Well, with nationals, like for me, I made sure to just try to take it the same way I would if I was playing a local, right? Regardless of the field that you're at, how high the competition is, it's still a round by round event. You still have to win round one to try to win round two. So if you go in trying to think, oh, I got to win 7 rounds so I can make day two, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Just worry about, I need to win this game so I can move on to the next. So that's one of the key things that kept me like topping events and getting into the ability to go to national.
Zach,
What
anything
about
to
you,
add to that?
Zach?
Yeah, it's super important. That's like really, really important. Um, Not only just like going to the event and being like, all right, I need to take it one game at a time. You know what I mean? One day at a time, 1 week at a time, just like anything, any sport, whatever. Uh, game by game, right? And you also have to be in the same mindset of how you are when you go to a locals, right? Like if you go to a locals and you know, you know that you're better than the majority of the field, you should walk into that event assuming that you're just better than everybody. Everybody sucks. Like at the end of the day, and that's the big thing. Like having confidence and then understanding your game plan. It's probably like the most important thing. And then I would highly stress that like getting a good night's sleep the night before and having some type of food or some type of designated food getter. You know what I mean? Like because things like that happen way too often. Where like you said, Preston, you lost, you had a game lost because of food things. That happens way too often. Um, so having somebody or making plans prior and then eating beforehand is also really really important.
Yeah, like that's when we when me and Zach did go to that Pokemon event. It was a really really early start because it was back to back championships at the same day.
Yeah,
So we actually went and loaded up 500 chicken nuggets from Burger King. Yeah, it was really good to be able to take like a mental break in between rounds with where like we had a good breakfast of all of our nuggets and then go play 1 or 2 rounds and stop like thinking about cards altogether for a few minutes, eat like 10 nuggets and just reset completely. That and hydration were like part of the keys to success.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping your mind sharp is really important.
I would say even at the I think every tournament we've ever been to, or at least something longer than like a locals, like anywhere between 6 to 8ish, 9ish rounds, where food is always an issue because those tournaments you have to wake up really early, like 7 o'clock ish for like registration, and the first round starts at like 9 and ends at like 9. It's long grueling. So props to anyone that makes it that far. But typically, when I am in those long tournaments, only one, maybe two of us are doing well. So a lot of us, dip to go get food. I know for the YCS Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, I think the World tournament, the last one was I was at. What I'd say was at that scale. I think only I was doing well. We just dipped. We just went to get food because we were just tired and hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Worlds in Long Beach that we all went to.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Yeah.
time, yeah.
So these are your during tournament, like take one game at a time, make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you're not hungry because as soon as your mind starts to slip, you start to misplay. Do you guys have any day before stuff? I think Zach said to get a good night's sleep, but do you guys do a lot of play testing? Do you guys rewrite your deck list? What is your like lead up to a big tournament to get yourself in that it's a one game at a time mindset?
I can start first. I think their opinions are probably a little different than mine because I don't necessarily believe in a lot of playtesting before a big tournament. I think all the tournaments beforehand were probably really more important than all those little playtestings there. I think I think Jay said a little bit earlier in the tournaments. Usually, when I'm in a tournament, I'm usually pretty locked in, so nothing can really take me out of it anyway. But taking myself out of the tournament the day before is really nice. Being able to breathe, be able to break, because it's really hard to keep that mindset on in lock for that long, to stay in the zone. So I typically like to relax, listen to some music, eat, hang out a little bit, watch a movie, something just to unwind because I know the next day is going to be long. So being able to relax is always really helpful for me.
What about you, Jay?
So it's kind of weird. So for nationals, we kind of like I had a flight group. We all like had to fly to each national, and so like the flight was the day before. So like kind of the ritual was I had my like this is how long it's been. I had my iPod Shuffle, and I loaded it up with Punk Goes Pop albums because that is just the hype beast train that you need to be on. And so it was like my 3 4 hour flight is just gassing through all these Punk Goes Pop albums getting there and not touching anything. We tried to make sure we had our decks like a month in advance. We knew we were playing. The only thing changing on that list is if someone comes up and it's like, hey, yo, last minute tech, this shit's cracked. If it wasn't like specifically, this is insane, you have to play it, then we were kind of locked in already. But for regionals, the things that you kind of like, you have to do well at regionals to even get to go to nationals. For those, we were like, oh, we got to sign our slip. Hold on, wait, let me just change this entire list right now.
That sounds
Especially people.
familiar.
I was gonna say that's a big like Zach influence. It could like the whole deck could change. I usually only would change a few cards if I was gonna change anything, but Zach will be like a completely different color scheme if it's a color based game, a completely different archetype, and I mean it wasn't always a negative. Sometimes it worked out, but I'm from all of my experience, I feel like being prepared at least 2 weeks in advance, knowing like this is what I'm playing, because there's so many intricate things you need to know. So like that 2 week prep beforehand, and then like Sam said, not playing at all the night before has probably yielded the best results. Getting that like you spent this whole time prepping for it, take a break so that your mind can just actually retain everything and relax and not worry about it, because the next day you are going to be doing it for 10 to 12 hours and it's just so taxing.
Yeah. So this last nationals, Dragon Ball, me and Jroc were pretty on point. You know, we said yellow is best deck.
Oh,
We said
that
yellow.
was a quick disagree.
No.
No.
He's just pissed. Yeah, we
Oh.
said yellow best deck. We said Golden Frieza, or like I was on higher, he was on Golden Frieza. Just mono yellow, we said it was better than blue yellow. And then my boys, you know, shout out to the dudes. Late night testing, you know, we go. Then this is the problem. This is the problem. We tested the night before, and that's when everything went downhill. Because I ended up, we got our shit pushed in, bro. Like we were just playing over and over, and Felipe just ran through us over and over again. And I was like, oh my god, this is horrendous. I'm gonna go like 05 drop. So another guy on the team sends me a picture. Yo, this is what we're playing tomorrow, and it's something that I had told everybody was good like 2.5 months prior. And so I scramble. I try to find everything. Change my deck list. Jroc says, "Fuck it, let's do it. We'll change the deck list."
Also, this is
And
yellow. What we already had agreed was not as good.
not as good. Yeah, it
So we
was
still
it offered more flexibility, but just because there's more flexibility, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's better in your game plan. And so started off fine. We were both like XO. We were both like 2-0 at some point, and then it just kind of went to shit. We had horrible sleep. I think I slept for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. We were late to the event. Like I had to Google drive up my deck list as I was filling it out as they were calling round one. Like
we spent like
yeah.
30 minutes trying to make sure we had extra sets of the cards so that I could also play it. And the person who was like, yeah, I have this stuff, wasn't there when we got there.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I ended up having to even more last minute scramble and put together my original mono yellow list and not remember what was in order, because I had some of the blue stuff. So I've had like 3 deck boxes with all my stuff spread across. So I have to like scramble and be like, nah, this looks kind of close to what I had. This must be it.
Wow.
And when I tell you that I'm disgusted that I didn't just go with my gut in the beginning, the same leader, Golden Frieza, 2 people get into the top 60. Oh no, three or four get into top 64. One's blue yellow, 3 are mono yellow, and they're literally 3 cards off of my entire list.
And one of them
And
got
the
top
only
8.
reason those 3 cards weren't in my list is because no one told me they existed.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that they were real cards, so I couldn't have put them in my deck.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
wow.
wild. It was actually wild. And so that's what you don't want to do, right?
I
Like I
have
promise.
never experienced that. I have literally gone in about 2 weeks in advance, knowing what I wanted to play, and never willed into what I. I know you've changed your list to something I've played before, Zach. Um,
That was a terrible fucking time too. Jesus
it's just I
Christ.
was so. I think because piloting is more important than necessarily than the list itself. Once you just
Yeah.
have comfort in piloting, whatever X deck is that you've been practicing is more valuable than the actual deck itself. So just
I
you,
can
Yeah.
somewhat
you live
agree
and
with
learn.
that.
It took
So
me. Go ahead, Jay.
the problem with that is it works, but at like a scale level.
Yeah.
Because you can be as comfortable, you can be the best player on the worst deck and still take wins. But
I've
the
done
problem
that.
is, you're in a 10 round event. You have to work 3 times harder than everyone you play because they're playing decks that are inherently stronger. You're just taxing yourself more and making it harder on yourself, so you're more likely to make mistakes or more likely to be punished and lose.
That's essentially what I'm doing for this big tournament coming up in Digimon, right? Like I should play blue; it's the best deck, but it's really linear, and I don't like the playstyle. But the deck is very good, so I'm playing a deck that reminds me a lot of a deck I played in Dragon Ball that I had success with, and it's figuring out which pieces to cut and whatever. I probably won't have this list nailed down until the day before the event, but something that I don't think we've touched on leading up to an event, right? Like most of the events are scheduled at in advance, right? A couple months in advance usually. Usually. Sometimes they're bad and they're like, "Oh, hey, pop-up event 2 weeks from now. Fly 600 miles and you'll be good." Um you need to have a group of people who you test with, like your playtesting group, your whether it consists of a couple judges or people who just have cards and you just need access to cards or whatever. Like, but everybody needs to be of like the right mindset, the right mind, like the same goal, kind of. Because if you don't, it, you're doing yourself a disservice because people aren't taking it as serious as you are when it comes to trying to better yourself and learn what you're doing, which is why like when Jroc will tell you he had a really small group of people when he played Yu-Gi-Oh, and they there was like that same core group of maybe like 3 to 4 people, and we do something similar with Dragon Ball, um, and it's yielded a lot of good results. My first like major top in Dragon Ball was a night that bro I was so pissed. We had ordered we bro dog we were supposed to have this giant like barbecue, get together kind of vibe, hang out, whatever, and like finish up the side decks, get ready for the event the next day because it was only like an hour drive away, so it's not too bad. Me and the missus go out, we get food, all that stuff, and then everybody like flakes, bro, and we're just like, fuck, like what do we do? Sam was like, yo, I'm down, bro, I'll still roll over, I got you. He came over and I remember, bro, I'm sitting there and I had my deck out and I'm like, hey, bro, I had this, and he's like, shut up, just play. He said, shut up, just play. And what he meant, like, play Mario Kart or whatever the fuck he had brought
It's a
over. I
great
don't know.
idea.
And I didn't actually touch cards other than putting them into sleeves and writing it on a piece of paper. And but Sam had helped me, like, he just asked me generic questions, right? Kind of like, and it's stuff that I've kept in my mind ever since. And this has been 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
I
Um,
do not remember this, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like, I
I
don't
just want to
think I've
throw
ever.
that out. I remember playing Mario Kart very often with you with you at points. I would acknowledge, yeah. But this specific event, I do not remember. Please continue though. I want
it
to
could
hear
have
about
been
how smart I am.
Here's the question.
it could have been Jackbox. It could have been whatever. It was when Storm was a thing. This was like the first. I took Apes and Taxes to the event, and my only loss was to a really good pan player round one, and then we just losers bracket the whole way into final round, and I ended up like fourth place. Um,
moral of the story is Mario Kart is good.
No,
That's what I,
basically, TLDR. Sam's like, you gotta rest, bro. You have to get your mind right. And he asked me just generic questions of like, okay, well, what are you really worried about, right? Because like when you go into a tournament, you think you're worried about all these things. You think you're worried about, oh shit, what about this matchup? Or oh, what about this matchup? Do I side deck this? Do I this? And when you get down to the main part of it, you're only really worried about 10 to 15% of the actual stuff of what you're worried about. And when you can narrow that down, your thought and you're surrounded by the group of people that you want to be around, you get it manageable, and then you can learn from there, you can grow from there, and it makes things easier. It makes transitions easier, and it makes your event easier, right? Like you write down this sideboard list. And so you sit, because you can check your phone before an event. You can sit down at the table, you can pull out your phone, check it out, whatever. As soon as it starts, as soon as the tournament starts, you put shit away. But in that phone, you pull up your notes and you're like, all right, so these are the matchups that I was worried about, and these are the cards that go in and the cards that come out. And you just give yourself a refresher because you write it the night before. You read it off your phone when you sit down, and then like you put your phone away. And then if you see the leader or the color or whatever that you're worried about, you now know how to play against it and what your strategy is before you even draw a card. And that gives, it's a really big advantage that people sleep on, I think,
you've never said that before.
because we didn't need to.
We're done it.
Yeah,
I've never once seen
you just don't listen. You
I've
don't
never
ever
seen
listen.
Zach take a note in his life.
Acknowledge that you didn't say it.
I went to
Never
school with
needed.
Zach. Zach has never
I
taken a
even
note in
told
his
him,
life.
Yeah,
Not
did
one
Sam
note.
take notes for you that
Sam,
night?
bro, hold on. Where's this Bulma, dog? I can't do it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna stream
that's
the
true.
whole stream up. There's a yellow Bulma that Sam was like, oh, play this card because it's good in the mirror match.
So
Because we were
Sam
trying
told
to
you what
figure out how
to
to
do.
do it.
Yeah, Sam is the note here. There
Yeah.
is no physical note. It's just me.
So how
Moral,
much do you think a deck list is gonna affect the game? Like, do you
A
think
lot.
it's more like the piloting or the list that you're playing? Can you go in with a subpar deck
yeah.
and still perform like top, or do you
Um,
need to be playing tier one, tier two?
This completely
on a
depends.
roll,
This completely depends on the game. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I think some games have allowed tier zeros. When I say tier zero, I mean this deck. If you don't play this deck, you're going to lose. Far too often. I've seen it in Magic. I've seen it in Yu-Gi-Oh, where the game just allows really dumb things until it is either banned or rotated out. I would say for most Bandai games, this hasn't existed. I think we've gotten really close to something that's tier zero, but it's not unstoppable. So I would still put it in tier one. Um, and you can honestly get away with a lot of things in Dragon Ball, from my experience. This was before a lot of the really silly things, the really play a lot of cards. You can get away with being the better pilot. I would say that with Pokemon as well. You can get away with being the better pilot. You've mastered, like I said, that's why I like to have a deck 2 weeks in advance, because I have been mastering this thing, and I'm just gonna keep mastering this thing, and I'm just gonna be better at the X than they are. Um, I like I said, I think it does depend on the game, but I do think mastering a deck list and then piloting it to close to perfection at a tournament will be more valuable than necessarily a list. That's why I usually don't like changing my list a couple days before in advance or before the tournament, because I am comfortable with this and I value that comfort more than that hypothetical tech. Game does matter though. The game does matter though.
I think the game matters majorly in those metas where there is like a tier zero, or I know Zach's gonna say if we don't consider Storm and stuff like tier zero, they're like tier 0.5. Like they're just things
you weren't
that are,
even playing.
I was.
Yeah,
I beat you. I beat you a lot of times with my really basic green blue deck because I realized I can win my game at turn 3 if I played correctly. And if you was a tier 0 deck, I would not have had a chance for it.
When did you start
Yada
playing?
was tier 0.
You
Doombots.
stopped playing that PBG event, right?
Yeah, but I used to still go
After
over.
Vegas?
I would still go over and test. I know what the Storm deck looked like. I played against you with it. But I'm saying that that's not tier 0. Yada was tier 0. Doombots and Versus was tier 0. There has been plenty of Pokemon decks that are tier like you. If you do not play X, you will lose. And there were people that did well that didn't play Storm.
Yes and no. Like,
It can't be yes and no.
well, it can though, because like you consider Teledad tier 0. Like, they literally came out with like an emergency ban list for Teledad.
Teledad was definitely tier 0.
Right.
Absolutely tier 0.
Not everybody who topped the events, not every deck was Teledad. So like, by
Right,
with the logic, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm
Was
trying
it
to get to.
heavily
Like,
Teledad at least?
yeah, it's heavily Teledad. Like the nationals when Storm was legal, that nationals not only did it take first, second, and third, it took 19 out of the top 32 or some shit. It was over half represented.
You would say half is tier 0 then? I wouldn't consider half tier
And,
0.
and that big of a field, yeah, I
Because
would.
even when I took Mecha Frieza to Vegas, I think Mecha Frieza was definitely 50%. I would not consider that deck tier 0 though.
I don't think the deck was tier 0 either. There was other things to go around it, but like the problem is like
Being meta strong and being tier 0 are a little different in my opinion.
I don't have like the stats on what Teledad's like numbers were, but I'm pretty sure like what Sam's getting at is like Teledad, the only deck that really had a 50-50 matchup with Teledad
Matchup.
was GB. And it was literally for one tournament.
Yeah.
That was the only tournament that and a deck that wasn't Teledad was beating Teledad decks. There was like an 80% population of the top 16, top 32 were Teledad. Whereas, like Sam's saying, you're at about 65, 70-ish percent. Like, it's still really strong.
Yeah.
We're not trying to deny that Storm was like very good. It's just when you consider something tier 0, it's like Sam's saying, it's like its only real loss is to the mirror, which
Or a hard
is
counter.
why yeah, and the hard counter usually loses to things that aren't that. So if you just go into a wave of not playing Storm, then you like got hard countered by hard countering Storm. Which is what back to the question, like, is it the pilot or is it the deck? A strong pilot can take a tier 2, tier 3 deck, even like we have a joke that I like to play tier 47 decks, like Ice Barriers and GBs. Like, it all goes back to, like Sam saying, being prepared and having a mastery of your cards. I could probably beat any YCS champion with like GBs, especially in like era-based decks. If we like, let's go back to the YCS U1, I will beat you in at least a quarter of our matches using a deck that shouldn't touch your deck at all. But that's just me having a mastery of my interaction and what my cards do, and being able to build into what you do.
Your comfort deck that you're best at is you're gonna beat people. Like,
yeah, I will take matches that I shouldn't take. Like, I would have beat Adam Korn, and he was like one of the original like GB X Saber like champion.
Yeah.
And I was playing him while he was playing X Saber. But he stacked my deck in game 3. And like it confirmed, like there's no way it wasn't. But like I had like a high doubt of myself when I was like first leaving Yu-Gi-Oh! That I was like, this doesn't matter. I'm not even like that good. Yeah, I went to Nats a couple times, but what did I really do? And I had a conversation with, because I my test group was YCS top 8, top 2 like champions, and they were like, bro, no one ever wanted to play you. Like, you were playing GBs for 7 years, and none of us ever wanted to match with you. Mm-hmm. Like, if we played you at local, it was just not fun. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you're just so good with the deck that even though it should just lose, you were just beating us. You were winning locals that you shouldn't have won. And I was like, didn't really think about that. I think so.
Do you think that affects locals where someone comes up to you and they mentally already know they're gonna lose, so they sit down and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna sit here for 40 minutes and lose to you, and
That's
I'm
a
gonna
handle.
try to enjoy it as much as I can,
Oh,
but I know I'm gonna
definitely.
lose."
I not even just locals. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, I made very sure that I did not look up anyone. I didn't know if you were like, "Oh, dude, Billy Brake is here." I didn't know what Billy Brake looked like. I would constantly be told how, "Oh, you just beat this guy who won this event like 2 months ago, or you just beat like this dude who's
Yeah.
top like Iman and stuff." Like I would beat them and not know that I played them because like I just didn't look people up because I knew if I like fangirled, I was gonna like put myself out of the mental scope.
Yeah, lose that
Do that.
focus on yourself.
Like people at locals when like I know that they get upset when they see like me and Zach come in. They're just like, oh, here we go. These guys are gonna, like I've heard the comments of like, well, they're gonna top and we're gonna just sit here and hopefully get a good prize for showing up. And it's like you should like thinking like that, you've already lost. I don't even have to try.
Let's
I'm
hope
gonna
they give out packs for entry, because that's all I'm getting tonight.
and it's like I guarantee you, like if you have just a little more confidence, you're going to make me have to play the game. If I don't have to even think about playing the game, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
Just because I'm playing stronger stuff, usually.
I remember at one
Especially
of
now.
I remember one of
Go ahead.
those really cool Dragon Ball tournaments. The right before the like the set came out. Like oh no, it was the next weekend. The set came out Thursday. There'd be a tournament Saturday, and if you didn't have the new set, you were kind of screwed almost. And I remember playing. I think in round three. I've been playing cards for a very long time, so I shuffle either depending on the person. They'll say either really cool or very unique, or you're just used to it. I make a lot of like it makes a nice flick sound, and the guy sitting across from me was like, how you shuffle like that? And I'm like, what you mean? This is how I shuffle. I've been playing cards a long time.
He
And I
said,
could
"Bro, you already
tell
lost."
and I could tell that by that comment that I was already in his head.
Yeah.
I mean that's why even at locals, I know people really hated, especially early in Dragon Ball, they didn't really like playing against us, and that's why I took a lot of fun decks to those tournaments because they made it more fun. They were
Oh
like,
boy.
oh, they're playing all this tier zero stuff. Like there's the Vegeta with the crit, and I'm playing Bobbity.
Bobbity.
Like I'm just playing. I'm just playing for fun. Like I didn't really care, and then I would win with Bobbity, and they would feel so bad, and that was always really funny to me.
Like me and Sam didn't have to play anything relevant.
Yeah, I never
It
played any
was
relevant in
so
locals.
funny. I was playing like Blue Beerus, trying to get to turn 16 to win the game.
Get it, my boy.
And people are just shook. They're like,
How you
all
do
right,
that?
maybe we could just do something. And I'm just like, all right, turn 12, play Whis. I get to take another turn. Turn 13, play Whis. Take another turn.
Take another one.
Yeah.
And they're just like, why did I even sit down? They see me and Sam come in. Me and Sam at where did Faraz work or made us go to?
Bro, that random spot.
I love
This
that
little
spot.
store where
that
me and Sam were literally first and second. I think every week for like a month.
It was at least a month and a half, maybe two.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
was. It
I
was
never
a feels
played anything relevant either. Not one deck that I took to those tournaments was I would consider tier 2 or tier 3.
Didn't you
No.
play Soul Striker?
Just not at those tournaments. Probably not. But I definitely played it.
I think that's something that's
That's the
interesting
Goku,
about.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely played it, but I don't think I took it to any of those. Maybe the first time I went, but after that, I know I played nonsense.
I think something that's interesting watching you guys play throughout the years and hearing you guys talk about it is being on the other side of the table from you guys. And I'm already not that good at card games. And
You
and sitting
really.
across from you,
It
sitting
depends on the
across from you
game,
guys,
brother.
I'm
It
always
really
tempted.
does.
I think
Press
every
an
single
hour.
game I sat across from you guys, I think I've taken one game off of Sam ever. I don't think I took a game off of Jroc in GBs, and I think I was playing Black Wings through that whole era or Chaos Sworn, and I don't think I ever took a game off of Jroc then. I think Zach used to tilt himself really
I was so
easily.
used to.
So by the
Didn't
What do you
time
mean used to?
Excellent.
I don't know how you are now, but I know in the past I could usually I could usually find Zach tilted, and then I can take a game off of him. But like if Zach's in the zone or if any of you guys are in the zone, I don't think I have the ability to keep track of everything to the point where I can like master anything. I think the best deck I played was Black Wings.
You were really good at Naruto.
I'm
Like,
gonna say I've played. We were my only test partner back in the Naruto days, and I think you had a good grasp of that game. So I think it just really comes down to how much you enjoy the game, which may be just an overall point to tournaments in general. If you just enjoy the game, which you and I could say I very much, probably to the most, I would say enjoyed Naruto. The game was just fun. Every deck was super unique. It was just a good time.
So that,
Maybe I just didn't enjoy Dragon Ball or Yu Gi Oh as much. That's why I didn't have as much success. But maybe that's something to look at.
it's fair.
that brings me to a question I was thinking is how much does the source material affect how you play the game? Like we all really enjoyed Dragon Ball Super when it was out, and I think that fed into the reason why we were playing for a while. Does the like manga or the anime affect your competitiveness for the game,
No,
or does that have anything to do with it? Because I think, like Sam was just saying, is we were in love with Naruto at that time, so playing the game was a way for us to be in that universe.
Yeah.
So does that help you at all, or does that change anything for like a highly competitive player or successfully competitive player?
I don't think so. Um, like personally, for me, the game doesn't matter. The company matters. Like, I I can play whatever game we want to play. It's why like I've sat there and played every game under existence, basically. You know, from fucking card games. And like I played Weiss at one point and Vanguard at one point. And it was just terrible life choices. But the people matter. Like it doesn't matter to me, bro. I can play fucking My Little Pony if that's what we were playing. You know what I mean? Like
I'm not playing
the
My Little
game.
Pony.
Yeah, I know we're not, but
I've
the
played it. It's not that bad.
it doesn't matter because it's the people, like the people you get to go travel with, the ones who get to fly with you, the ones you get to like stay at the Airbnb with, you get to smoke with, you get to drink with, hang out with. Um, that is the stuff that matters. I think the competitive aspect of it is just a want to win, a want to be better than other people. Like for me personally speaking, recognition. Because I've never, even back in the day when we were playing, like when we would play Yu-Gi-Oh, I would get my shit pushed in every single time. I could never beat you guys ever.
What are we talking about?
Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The game doesn't really matter. But I stuck with it because I wanted it to matter. I wanted some type of recognition from like my peers or like for the longest time it was like my family who was unsupportive or whatever at the time. Like that's that's where like my drive was, where like my like not fuck this, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna make something, like et cetera, et cetera. um that is kind of where I separate myself from other people, I think, when it comes to playing cards, because I could care less what the game is, to be honest. Like source material is cool, like yeah, Goku's dope, but I had never watched a Dragon Ball Super episode until we started doing videos at the house. I had never seen an episode in my
Deeply
life.
into Z.
I'm not gonna
Kind
lie.
of.
I just barely watched Dragon Ball Super like a month ago.
Yeah, I think I stopped caring for Z after Cell. Like I watched the Boo arc. It was all right,
You're
but
tripping.
I wasn't as like everybody. I wasn't as invested as like everybody
Sam's
else. You
gone.
know what I mean? Like yeah, he's upset. Like I like the Majin Vegeta fight was cool. Like that stuff was cool, but like
You're just
it
Arrhenius and
was all
everything.
just like whatever, bro.
So I think like to focus more on like
Oh,
Zach kind of had a really wide answer towards the topic or the
Like
question.
yeah,
As far as like, does the source material matter at like this higher competitive level or to get into a competitive scene? I think the source material is the gateway, right? Like even though like I'm down to play any game, if my friends say let's play the game, I feel I have the same sentiment. Like if you guys want to, like I'm only gonna play One Piece because you guys are gonna play to keep it a buck because
Yeah, you
I only
stopped
have
after.
one character that I care about, and I it's spoilers, but he's gone, so I can't even, and he's probably not going to be in the first wave of the cards, so
He
it's
definitely
just
will.
whatever.
You'll be there.
He'll be there.
All right, we'll see, we'll see.
Fan favorite.
I'll be mad if he's not. Yeah, I'm gonna put these away, but like that's a gateway. Like I've seen a little of One Piece. I'm interested in the game, so it's not a complete like I'm just blindly following. But like My Hero has a card game that came out, and I love My Hero, so I started putting together a deck. I haven't played a tournament or anything, but I have cards. I like
Yeah.
to chill and just like look at my floppy cards and be like, look at my cool little deck.
Where's
I
I
started playing
Jay
Yu-Gi-Oh.
randomly bought it.
Yeah,
Random.
my friends started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in high school, and were like, you can use our deck, and I was like, that's cool. I've seen this cartoon. These aren't anything from the cartoon. These are frogs. This is Exodia. I guess that was my first deck was Frog Exodia.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, all right, I guess. I wasn't like super down because of Yu-Gi-Oh or anything. I was just like, my homies are doing this, I'll do it. And it's just somewhere once you get through that gateway, it's just you kind of get enamored in everything, and you're like, yo, wait, I can actually be good at this. And you stop caring necessarily at the higher competitive level. The material starts to wane as like an important factor. Because like Digimon, I'm pretty fierce competitor, at least at these local levels for Digimon, and I only play green. I like they know when they sit down across from me, I'm just playing the best version of green. Whatever green is, they know I'm playing.
Yeah.
I've won one time in the entirety of this game, which has been out for a few sets, did I not play green. And it was because green was unplayable.
So what?
Security control?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I played that for like a month. I bought it, played it, sold it to Tang, and went back to green.
I agree with especially the point where it's a gateway. I would say it's definitely the entry level. I would definitely not be playing Dragon Ball if it wasn't Dragon Ball. That is 100% true. And I think a lot of the statements I'm going to say are true, except for Yu-Gi-Oh. I usually won't play it if the art's bad. I'm gonna be honest. The art is a big deal to me. If the cards aren't attractive, I probably won't be playing it. Like most Pokemon cards to me look really attractive, and I like seeing Pokemon cards. I like the idea that you can full art everything. That's super cool. I won't do it because I bridge my cards a lot, but I like looking at them, which is a big deal to me. Magic the Gathering, I played it for a long time. I do not like Magic the Gathering. The cards are very ugly to me. I'm gonna be honest. They don't do anything for me.
He said,
Is it every single card like a masterpiece painting?
Yeah, but it doesn't pull me in. Don't get me wrong. The art's. I'm not saying the art's ugly. It doesn't do anything for me.
Is it like the vibrance of it?
I don't know. That shit's shiny. I don't know what to tell you, brother. That's what it comes down to. I'm a fish, maybe.
I don't like the card shiny. I'm a rarity 4. I like Sam said, you can full art your whole Pokemon deck.
It's cool.
My deck's not all shiny. I'm just not
don't
happy.
want to play it.
You
Yeah.
understand how much I hated playing GBs for 7 years when 6 years of
That's
that they
true.
didn't come shiny. And then when they all came secret, I was like, I need these foreign, I need these shiny, I need them now. I spent so much money getting like French GBs that were secret rares and super.
Can you read French?
I can read French GBs.
I love that. And I'll be honest, I'm someone that didn't pull out the cards because I am notorious bridger. Like there'll be little bends on my cards and they're not going to be as much, but I like looking at them. I like seeing other people with their shiny decks. I think that's really cool. So I enjoy seeing it. But like I said, other than the difference here is Yu-Gi-Oh. For whatever reason, we stuck with it. I liked the anime. The anime was cool. The show was cool. All my friends played it. That's probably why I stuck in it. But I didn't care for a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh art cards. Like they didn't really do anything for me. Like I didn't really care about this little scroll card that got searched me another scroll card, and I used this scroll cards to make a bigger scroll card. That didn't do shit
He
for me.
says super nimble mega hamster, bro.
Hey, throwback right there. Like the cards didn't really do anything for me. The archetypes again didn't really do anything for me. I didn't care about them like that. I cared about other things. But I would say artwork is probably the one thing no one really talked about. Everything else I align with mostly. I like hanging out with friends. I like One Piece. I'm gonna play One Piece. One Piece is a different beast. But artwork's another big thing, and One Piece has definitely shown that artwork is gonna be attractive. So that's they're getting me. My wallet is not happy.
Bandai art in general is really good.
It's gotten a lot better. Man, art has gotten a lot better. I would say Dragon Ball early on was a little questionable, but it's what since they started releasing the full arts, that stuff is
Well,
Yeah,
keep giving it to me. Keep giving it to
some
me.
are really
Full arts
Yeah, I
are the
think
full arts where it's at.
yeah, I think the only reason I played any of the games were because of you guys.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy.
I
Hey,
think
you remember when we used to play Duel Masters, Preston? We'd go to
yeah,
Target and be like,
because you
"Hey,
guys
man,
yeah.
Oh no! You were
it's-
definitely it was you. You were the starter for Duel
yeah,
Masters. That's 100%
Duel
you.
Masters
I had Duel Master cards because you had Duel Masters cards. Do not throw us under the bus.
can
Yeah, you
confirm."
bitch. I have never seen one episode of. I have not seen one episode of Duel Masters. I know nothing. You had cards.
Hey,
chill.
look, Mama bought me the first Duel Master deck, bro. We went to Target. It was like we were like 7 or 8, 9 maybe.
I have
We go
no
to
idea
Target.
what Duel Masters is. No idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
me neither. But
it's
Preston
still
played
going. I
red.
heard.
Preston played red. That's all I know.
You Preston
Yep.
played red. He had the stupid dragon thing. He was super
Yep.
strong.
Yeah.
We played
Yeah,
at
I
the, we
think
played at the bowling alley. He would whoop our ass in bowling, then whoop our ass in Duel Masters.
Of course, you're a good bull.
Yeah.
uh,
You look
other
like
than Duel Masters, then I think Yu-Gi-Oh! I stayed in it because I came back to it when Synchros happened
I did
because you guys were
too.
playing. Uh, Dragon Ball Super, the only reason I played is because you guys called me and were like, you got to see this. It's great. And it was for a little bit. And
Definitely.
then I played Pokemon with you guys. I think like you guys were saying, it's mostly about the people. And that's the only reason I played most of the card games.
Hmm.
I think Naruto and Duel Masters might have been something that I was interested in first that I like pulled you guys into.
Absolutely. You were like, I'm buying a case. You were like, this is
I
we're
definitely supported that.
sophomores in high school. Freshmen or sophomores in high school, and you're just like, yeah, I'm
That
getting
was
a case.
that was freshman in college.
I'm about to say we were with that. That was earlier on Einstein's time.
Yeah, that
Was
was that was freshman college because
Yeah. I
Sam
remember how I paid for it.
yeah
oh, that actually makes
exactly yeah because Sam went in half on that case.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think this is a good part one. If you guys want to talk more about your guys' competitive like prowess or anything that comes to mind, we can always do a part two. But before we go, Jroc, where can the people find you? Do you want the people to find you?
Do you stream it all?
Yeah,
I
where
Oh,
So you can find me at twitch.tv/GGNLEJEND.
it'll also be in the descriptions.
Legend.
GGN Legend on Twitch. Do you have a shoot schedule or do you just on most of the time?
I'm on sporadically throughout the week. I'm working on narrowing down a schedule, but usually in the evenings I get on for a few hours playing League, Hearthstone, and some Duel Masters every now and then because they have Glads again.
Oh, Master Duel. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about?
I said Duel Masters, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you're all playing Duel Masters? That's crazy, brother.
Just
The,
you,
the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters.
I would definitely play it just for reminiscence if they like released an app. That'd be funny. Same thing with Naruto. I would definitely replay that for a little bit. That'd be fun. That game was something special.
I've caught wind that there's a
Is that true?
Kickstarter. There's
I
a
read that. Is that
I,
true?
yeah, I don't know how true it is to revive Naruto.
Bro, the chakra system?
it's kind of weird. There's a lot of people that bring up like that Naruto was really good,
It
but
was a
when you
good
guys, like
game.
I didn't link up. I didn't know you guys when it was out,
Yeah.
and I could never find the tournaments.
No, we drove to Bakersfield for what? We drove
We-
3.5 hours.
For
Yeah.
bigger
No.
tournaments, we had to drive, but we were the reason they started
I
doing
couldn't even
locals.
find locals. I couldn't even find those. We played. I bought a box at the Orange Show swap meet and went because we would go play Yu-Gi-Oh in the Wiener Schnitzel, and so I cracked the box in the Wiener Schnitzel on a Saturday morning, packed all of the State 2 cards basically, and then built the State 2 deck and it was like me and
Dumpster.
Nick Tomlin.
Dumpster.
Yeah. There was like 4 or 5 of us, and that was the only time I got to play.
That game was fun, man.
It
I always
was. It was.
play like
I've played. I would say when I'm with Zach, I've played either all or very close to all big mainstream card games, and I would say the chakra system in that game was incredibly well fleshed out. And damn, that game really sad that it died. Obviously, it had to go when the anime ended, but it's a good time.
nothing beats
The jutsu phase is good too.
the jutsu phase was cool. I think that's why I gravitated towards Dragon Ball so much, man. I their energy, the fact that every card in your hand is a resource,
Yeah.
is the best part of any card game that I've ever played.
It's a huge skill gap too when you can learn
Oh, yeah.
what's correctly to charge.
And it's super crazy because that's also a Bandai game, and everyone was worried that Dragon Ball wouldn't live because of how Naruto died.
23 seasons is nothing to 23 sets is nothing. I don't know why people would say that. 23 sets is a lot of sets.
I think
Because
the tournament scene was like
Yeah.
almost non-existent for so long.
Yeah.
Like
it was
I,
the
like
con
you guys said,
thing.
you went to Bakersfield. I like didn't even know that was an option. Like when I tried to Google it, and I was like, "I'm down to take the tuning exam. Let's go," and I just couldn't find a location that was anywhere like near me.
Hey, I'm a Chunin. I just realized that. I never
Yeah.
acknowledged that until just 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. That's
Fucking
what Mom
sick.
said.
You fucking get in, bitches.
Mom
Oh,
said,
no.
"Hey, you guys need to take chains on your tires." Preston said, "No, we're good."
Oh, that's a whole nother podcast. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, absolutely. TLDR, we got caught in the blizzard.
Yeah, that was
I
bad.
peed off an interstate. It was great.
That was a good time.
Holy
Let's
moly.
let's wrap it up, boys.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Any last thoughts? Do you guys want to shout out anything you're
Yeah, shout out to
you're
Burger
watching
King.
right now?
The Burger King.
Yeah.
Shout out Haji Daddy.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Yep,
god.
yep. I think those are
That
great
was
shout
for
outs.
Stefano. But no, last comments, like again, if you're interested in becoming like a competitive player, rest, mental breaks, hydration are like 3 of the big things you're gonna want. Eating is always nice if you can fit food in, but I would say if my option were to drink a bottle of water or go get a pizza, I'm drinking a bottle of water. Because I can go without food, but your body needs the hydration to be able to continue thinking on that caliber.
Also follow our YouTube channel.
Thanks for coming on, Jroc. I really appreciate taking time out of your night to come hang out and talk about yourself. Really nice.
Thank you.
It was good hanging out with you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check out all of our links in the description down below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.